The rules we're taught about healthy living, how to exercise, sleep, and retire, fail to account for millions of years of human history. You know that familiar stab of guilt when you're standing at the bottom of a staircase, but you step onto the escalator instead? You tell yourself you're being lazy. Harvard evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman spent his career studying how early humans actually lived. After observing active hunter-gatherer tribes around the world, he realized our health assumptions ignore the very reality of our species. For our ancestors, calories were incredibly scarce. Survival meant hunting and foraging all day, burning enormous amounts of energy just to eat. In that environment, going for a needless 5-mile jog was a massive, potentially fatal biological error. We are built to rest whenever possible, to conserve that hard-won energy. But today, we live in a world where almost every physical task has been automated away. You are running ancient survival software. It is effective for the savannah, but it crashes on modern hardware. Medical slogans constantly warn us that sitting is the new smoking, blaming our desk chairs for the rise in chronic disease. When researchers put sensors on modern hunter-gatherers, they found these active populations sit for about 10 hours a day, the exact same duration as an average Western office worker. This chart shows cellular activity levels over a 4-hour period. Continuous sitting creates a flat line on the left. On the right, standing up every 15 minutes causes massive spikes. This brief movement acts like turning on a car engine. It drops blood sugar and switches on maintenance genes. Then there is the rigid rule that you must get 8 hours of sleep. Yet tribes who live without electricity naturally sleep only 6 to 7 hours. The 8-hour sleep mandate has no basis in ancient biology. It was an artificial quota invented during the Industrial Revolution to standardize factory shifts and maximize labor output. By forcing our bodies to meet an artificial industrial quota, we create a constant sense of biological failure. We are fighting our natural rhythms, and that friction is a primary driver of chronic exhaustion. To understand why our modern lifestyle is making us sick, we have to look at how our bodies process excess energy. Diets high in processed sugars are creating a hidden crisis inside us: systemic inflammation. When you consume sugar, insulin acts like an aggressive taxi service, shoving excess sugar molecules straight into your fat cells. Without burning this energy, those cells take on sugar until they physically rupture, triggering your immune system and creating systemic inflammation. But when you move, contracting muscle fibers release interleukin-6, which washes over the system, acting like a fire extinguisher to turn down the inflammatory response. Exercise functions as a biological switch. It is the mechanism we evolved to use to suppress systemic inflammation and prevent our cells from mutating prematurely. This brings us to a pervasive myth, that running destroys your knee cartilage and leads to arthritis. The actual culprit for joint pain is the thick, cushioned modern running shoe. By doing the stabilizing work for you, these shoes act like a rigid medical cast, weakening the muscles of your foot. This diagram shows how modern shoes alter our biomechanics. A thick heel allows runners to overstride. The heel slams into the ground, sending aggressive shockwaves straight up the shin and into the knee joint. Indigenous populations, like the Tarahumara in Mexico, run massive distances for generations without high-tech footwear. They land on the balls of their feet, using the ankle and calf to absorb the impact. Our bodies are built to manage these forces, provided we use the right mechanics. When we prioritize immediate comfort through thickly engineered shoes, we disable our natural shock absorbers and invite long-term physical decay. That drive for comfort culminates in the ultimate modern aspiration: working decades just to retire, sit on a beach, and do nothing. Humans are the only species that lives 20 years past our reproductive prime. We evolved this extra lifespan so grandparents could perform vital physical labor, foraging to support their children and grandchildren. Your body operates on a strict use-it-or-lose-it mandate. When you abruptly stop moving in retirement, your biology assumes your usefulness has ended. Without the daily trigger of exercise to turn on cellular maintenance, aging runs amok. You cannot rely on willpower to fight millions of years of evolutionary programming. Instead, you have to socially engineer your environment so that moving your body becomes either strictly necessary or highly rewarding. Some people use extreme financial accountability. signing contracts that automatically donate money to an organization they despise if they skip a workout. Others replace isolating gym sessions with communal play, team sports, or dancing. Stop feeling guilty for your natural instinct to sit down, but realize that your environment no longer forces you to move. Step off the escalator, take the stairs, and prove to your ancient DNA that you still have work to do.
The next video might completely change how you see people. Like and subscribe so you don't miss it.